Dearest Texas history scholars, I hope you're having a great day today. I am going to make a study guide for Unit 7. The first side of our paper is going to be about the Civil War. Well, it's Texas in the Civil War. And then the Civil War took place from 1861 to 1865. The first thing that happens in this unit is that Texas joins the Confederacy. Texas joins the Confederacy in 1861 at the start of the war. That is a major event. Sam Houston responds to this by being really angry and refusing to swear an oath of allegiance to the Confederate States of America. Some sources say that he was fired. Some sources say he resigned. Some sources say he was removed. Either way, we know that he was not happy that Texas was joining the Confederacy, and he was no longer the governor when Texas proposed to join the Confederacy. There are 5 reasons that Texas ended up joining the Confederacy. And the first reason was slavery. Slavery was important to Texas because they felt like slavery was vital to the economy. I could have misspelled that. Vital to the economy and to cotton production. I'm pretty sure I misspelled that. We could pause it and fix it if we want. Okay, the second reason, that one's really important. The second reason is states' rights. That one's really important too. Those first 2 are major causes of the Civil War in every state. Reasons that especially apply to Texas are also sectionalism, saying that Texas is going to do what the states near them do, so they're going to side with the neighbors that they have, and they feel like if the other states around them have slavery, then they should be able to have slavery as well. We compared this to a traffic stop. The next one was the nullification crisis, which happened about 30 years before the Civil War. South Carolina said that they didn't want to follow a federal law, and so they ended up coming to a compromise, but that gives South Carolina the idea that if they don't like what the federal government is doing, then they just don't have to follow it, which is not true. The next reason was the tariff on cotton that only affected the southern states. My 7th period class came up with supersonic super ninja turtles in order to remember these 5 reasons. However you want to remember those, they're on the test, they're important, you'll need to know them. The next thing that you need to know regarding the Civil War was that there was slow communication in the South. There was a lack of technology, and so even after General Lee's surrender to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in 1865, fighting continued in Texas. And in the state of Texas, the very last battle of the Civil War took place, and that was called the Battle of Palmito Ranch. The Confederacy starts to win the Battle of Palmito Ranch, and then they are told that the war is over, and so no one wins that battle because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Fighting continues in Texas, and then Battle of Palmito Ranch. There was a lot more information that we learned, and we could pause the video and talk more about it. We could add to this in class, but this is a foundation. You need to know these things for sure. The last thing is Juneteenth. Juneteenth happens in June of 1865, and that is Emancipation Day in Texas. That marks the last day of slavery, well, legal slavery in North America. So that's a state holiday that's still celebrated in Texas. All of our government offices are closed on that day. And then people have marches and festivals and stuff like that to celebrate freedom. On the back page, we are going to talk about Reconstruction. Unit 7, Reconstruction. And the Reconstruction dates start as soon as the war is over, so 1865 to 1876. A major thing that came out of Reconstruction is new amendments. And that is super important that you know about that, because that's going to be on your 8th grade STAR test. And y'all will talk about it again next year. The amendments that were added to the Constitution are... Oh, I started with 15. That's not right. Okay, 13. That looks kind of weird. It's okay. Since when did I do anything perfectly? 13th, 14th, 15th. The 13th Amendment establishes freedom for former enslaved people, and it officially ends slavery or forced servitude in the United States. 14 creates citizenship, but women didn't have any rights at that time, so it's only for men. Men are citizens of the United States. This also includes equal protection. Let's write that. That will benefit you next year. Equal protection. Equal protection under the law. All rights apply to all citizens. The 15th Amendment is about voting. Free men vote. 13, 14, 15. Free men vote. 13, 14, 15. We could pause the video and we could say that in weird voices, but it doesn't matter how you remember it. 13, 14, 15. Free men vote. That's super important. Texas was eventually readmitted to the United States after the Civil War. But first, what they had to do was create a new constitution. And so the Texas Constitution of 1876 reflects the principles and the structure of the American Constitution. The Texas Constitution also has a preamble and articles, and it has 3 branches of government, just like the American Constitution, and it has a lot of amendments, including amendments about individual rights. We talked about that in class, and the way that we're going to remember those constitutional principles that are essential to democracy are flip rocks. I hope that your class got to make a jellyfish. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But if your class did make a jellyfish, then it was definitely a constitutional jellyfish for flip rocks. Flip rocks stands for federalism. That's the division of government between the national government and the state government. Federal government versus state government. L is for limited government. So the government is limited in its power. The powers are specifically listed in the Constitution, and there are powers that are specifically listed that the government does not have, that belong to the people instead of the government. That's limited government. I is individual rights. I probably should have brought a key over here before I started doing this. Individual rights can be found in the Bill of Rights and throughout the amendments, but it mostly is the Bill of Rights, which starts with RAPS, religion, association, press, petition, and speech. Those are the foundation of individual rights in the United States and in democratic countries. P is for popular sovereignty. Oh my gosh. Hold on, I'm gonna misspell that one. Okay, I got it. Popular sovereignty means that the source of the government's power is the American people and the voters. R stands for republicanism. That means that the people elect representatives that represent what the people want in government. And then C is for checks and balances. Specifically listed in the Constitution are ways that each branch can control part of the other branch or limit part of the other branch. So that creates a checks and balances for all 3 branches of government. None of them have power to run everything by themselves. That's just not how the American government works. S is separation of powers. Again, that's saying that there's not one branch of government or one person in government that holds all of the authority. The authority of the government is shared between branches and between the people, so that there's like multiple sources of government power, and all of that power is limited because there's multiple sources. Okay, so that's what's going to be on your... Oh, I forgot one thing. By the way, these are the principles of the Constitution. Also on your test, it's going to ask you, like, as a social effect of the era of Reconstruction, what job did African Americans do, and then it's going to have like a term, and you're going to need to know about sharecropping. Sharecropping is when you rent land from a landowner and you use their land to plant crops in exchange for a portion of your harvest. So you may or may not make money off of the crops that you grew because you owe some of those crops to the landowner. Okay, you're done. That's it. Have a lovely day. Best of luck on your test.